Hey guys, thank you for tuning into another episode of Beanie TV. This is your girl Beanie, and I'm here with the lovely and beautiful Naiylah Warren of sex and relationship blog NaiOnLife.com. Not only is Naiylah a sex blogger, but she also carries a bachelor's in psychology, so she definitely knows what she's talking about. So thank you, Naiylah, for coming on the show today.
No problem.
First, I want to talk about sex.
Okay.
And I think that something that a lot of young people don't do enough is practice celibacy. So, can you tell us the difference between practicing celibacy and just plain old not having sex? Like, what is the difference?
Well, when you're practicing celibacy, you usually go through this whole kind of life epiphany where you pretty much decide, I'm not going to have sex for this amount of time, and I'm not going to start having sex until this ends. So some people say until they get married, some people say until they get into a relationship, some people say just when they fall in love or they feel it's the right person. Now, when you just decide not to have sex anymore, that's just like I'm not interested in anybody sexually,
right.
Nobody's, getting me hot and bothered, so I just don't feel like it. But
right.
It's not really any goal that you're trying to reach when you're trying to do that.
What is your take on friends with benefits? Because I feel like it's something that is plaguing our generation, and it's stopping us from learning how to be in normal relationships without getting hurt. Because a lot of times it's usually the women that are getting hurt,
right?
So like, how can we show people that you don't have to have a friends with benefits situation in order to have the relationship you desire?
Right. Well, I mean, when it comes to those kind of relationships, I sometimes feel like it's definitely an excuse not to kind of really get your emotions involved. But your emotions.
But do you feel like that's on the men's side or the women's side, as far as no emotions involved?
I think that's on the women's side for sure. But at the end of the day, because you're interacting with this person, you're having sex with this person, your emotions get involved regardless. So it's really counterproductive. It's kind of like saying, oh, what I have on my head is not a hat, it's just something that's covering my head. No, it's still a hat. It's still a relationship that you're building. You're just choosing not to call it that because you feel like once the title, it becomes obligations. I feel like for men, they don't like the titles, and they may be into friends with benefits relationships because titles now put obligations on things. Now that I call you my girlfriend or my boyfriend, now you are not expected to be talking to anybody else. Now I want you to take me out. Now I want us to do all these things that people in relationships do. And by not putting the title on that, it kind of makes people feel like, oh, well, I don't have to do it, but they end up doing that anyway.
Right.
So you're really in a relationship regardless.
But do you feel like, why do obligations have to be bad? Because you say obligations are, calling and making sure like your partner is okay and taking them out to dinner. Like, that does not sound bad at all.
Right.
So, why do you think people even, besides the emotional part, like why do people get in friends with benefit situations?
I think it's just to kind of just stop them from doing things that they don't feel like they always have to do. Being in a relationship is a huge commitment. So when they feel like, I don't feel like taking anybody out, I don't feel like calling you when I get home, I don't feel like telling you where I am or who I'm with, then they're like, okay, if I'm just not in a relationship, I don't have to tell you that.
Right.
Okay, now I don't have to take you out because we're not together. Okay, I don't have to meet your family because we're not together. So it kind of gets people to kind of just live on their own terms when it comes to being in a relationship.
Right. And then who do you feel like gets hurt more, like the men or the women?
I think both parties really end up feeling something from it because men realize, oh wow, now I'm with this girl, she likes me, now I like her. Now it's a burden for you to have to deal with a woman who likes you and you don't like her back. So now you have to do all these extra things to kind of clean up the mess. And then with the woman, of course, the feelings are hurt. And for some men, their feelings get hurt too. We can't just say that only women get their feelings hurt in situations like that. Some men, they get into those relationships hoping that the woman will fall in love with him and then call it that. That's the problem I feel like with friends with benefits relationships. Because you go into it thinking that, oh wow, this could possibly be something, when no, you go into it knowing that this is going to be a friends with benefits relationship. So no feelings, no anything, but that's not usually what happens.
Well, here at Beanie TV, we're definitely all about everyone enjoying a love that you deserve. I'm not just focused on male-female relationships, I'm focused on all relationships. So Naiylah, can you tell us what are the positive things that are happening in the LGBT community?
Well, some of the positive things I see is that people are now starting to look at gay and lesbian relationships as kind of like the extra it factor of what love really is. They're starting to see, like, if they have a couple who is not really out and suddenly they come out because they're in love and they want to be together, that's like, wow, that's a huge sacrifice that you made for me. Like, that really is what love is. And I'm glad that people are starting to see that love is now, you know, more, well, it's always been more than male and female, but female, male, it doesn't really matter as long as you're happy.
Right. And something that I've been seeing a lot is on Facebook and Tumblr where, you know, people are comparing heterosexual relationships to lesbian and gay relationships, and how, like, say like Kim Kardashian was married for 72 days, and it seems like heterosexual relationships are diminishing the value in marriage, while lesbian and gay relationships are definitely like making marriage, like keeping that stronghold of marriage alive.
Right,
you know,
right.
So
I definitely agree with you. I feel like in gay and lesbian relationships, it's now kind of like we have to prove our love. You know what I mean? Like, they have to really try hard to now get people to recognize their union as something that's true and loving and, you know, different from what people usually think about gay and lesbian relationships.
Right. So what is one thing or many things that you think that young people in their 20s should know about sex, love, and relationships? Like, what do you feel like is the golden rule?
I think the golden rule is to just slow down and take your time. I think we are, in this generation, we are so rushed to find like our match and our mate and everything, and we're not really taking time to figure out what kind of mate are we? Like, why would somebody want to be with me? What can I add to someone else's style? You know what I mean? Like, but we're always looking for that person to kind of give. And we're not thinking, wow, wait, what can I give? How can I benefit somebody else's life? You know, I was reading a book, A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson, and she said in the book how she was talking to her boyfriend at the time, and she was like, you know, what can I do to make your life better? And in my mind, I'm like, make his life better? Like, who cares about his life? But then you have to really think about that. Like, if you don't have that person in your life to make it better, then why are they there? What is their real purpose?
In a lot of moments in life, like, something that we need to start doing is, how can I give back to this situation? Whether it is in sex, love, relationships, or just being at the grocery store. What can you give to this situation? Because in life, it's all about giving and receiving.
Right, and I think what's happening in our generation a lot of the time is that we're really starting to just suck the love out of everything.
How do you know when you're in love?
I think it's something that just comes naturally to you. I mean, you kind of just get an instinctive thing like, wow, this person really vibes with me. Wow, like, I actually care about this person's life. Wow, I actually want to know what's happening with their family. I want to know what's happening with them. I want to know all these things. And that's something that after some time, like after you spend some time with the person, you kind of like really just start to see them in this different light. You know what I mean? Like, their flaws are not flaws. You're like, oh wow, that's really cute. Like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you had that. Or is this these little things that kind of get you to add up that you're really falling in love with somebody. For everybody, it's different. For some people, it takes a long time to figure out, oh wow, I think I love you. And for other people, it's like, nope, I know, you're it. You're having my ashy babies. Like, this is gonna go down.
Okay, but you know, how does someone do, because I've been in this situation where the person said they loved me, but they treated me negatively. So how would you explain to someone what they're in is not love?
Well, you know, to a degree, I wouldn't say that what they're in is not love. What I would say is that the person that they're in love with is not showing that love the right way. And it's because of, who knows, like their experiences in the past or how they was raised. Any of these wounds that they're bringing to the relationship is what they think love is. And so they're now giving it to you. But you don't have to accept it.
It's your choice whether you want to accept it.
Because that's not what love is to you. So you have to cut it off. Like, no, that's not love to me. So this can't go no further.
So what is your definition of love?
My definition, well, love is God to me. Plain, simple, to the point. I mean, at the end of it all, even if we go through like a heartbreak or something like that, 9 times out of 10 we all run to God, asking God, please, I don't know what to do. We all run back to the source of it all.
Thank you guys for tuning into another episode of Beanie TV. We hope that you learned how to love and love right. So thank you so much, Naiylah, for coming on my show today. Let them know where they can follow you.
Yes, on Twitter it's at Naiyonlife, or you can check out my blog, naiyonlife.com.
She's a new.com.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, or just like me on Facebook at Naiyonlife.
And make sure to follow me at Queen of Vina and subscribe to this amazing YouTube channel. So thank you guys so much. Tune in next week and yeah, learn how to love.